We are at the Embassy of India, where we are going to meet with His Excellency Shri Vinod K, the Ambassador of India to Bahrain, for a checklist and progress card on how India and India-Bahrain relations have fared for our August 15th special edition. This Independence Day, the Government of India has taken Viksit Bharat as its overall template for celebration. At Salaam Bahrain, we are looking at Viksit Bharat through the prism of women's development or Nari Shakti, and His Excellency has a lot to tell us about it. Let us hear from His Excellency Shri Vinod K. We are speaking to the Indian Ambassador to Bahrain, His Excellency Vinod K. Excellency, we would love to hear from you how the power and the progress of Indian women has dovetailed with the Viksit Bharat theme that the Indian government has taken.
Thank you, Meera, for this opportunity to speak to readers of Salaam Bahrain. On this occasion, let me congratulate the good work that you're doing and convey my regards to all the readers of Salaam Bahrain. On a conceptual level, it's very important to remember that we have shifted through three stages in terms of women's roles. Initially, the government was focusing on women's welfare. And around 1970s, it went into looking at women as an active contributor in terms of the human rights development, because women's rights were seen as human rights and placed at an important pedestal. Now the focus is on not only welfare and human rights, women's rights as human rights, but also as women as equal partners in society, especially in the economy. And it's also reflected in the type of women's participation in the public space. Take, for example, the fact that India conducts the largest elections in the world. 2019 election as well as 2024 election, the number of women voters exceeded the number of male voters. And when we look at the boardroom, when we look at the corporate sphere also, the participation of women in the corporate boards has now increased to almost 20% from around 2%, we could say around 15-20 years back. So these are all substantial indications of the active role that Indian women are playing. Now, specifically when we look at India-Bahrain, I want to look at the last 1 year, and I was just preparing for this interview. I wanted to highlight a few important developments in that regard. You know, we had a three-star general from the armed forces visit here in July last year to have interactions with her counterpart, especially in medical field. We also had lady pilots and lady technicians coming here as part of the Sarang helicopter team in November last year. We also had, as part of our Focus State Union Territory initiative, we have also been promoting the role of women there. Likewise, if you would recall, in October last year, when the first training squadron of the Indian Navy comprising INS Tir and ICGS Veera had come, there were a lot of trainee officers, there were a lot of officers, women officers, trainee officers, and we also had Punjabi Virsa making a presentation. They really set the tone for the evening reception. So I think in different ways the embassy is also actively promoting the importance of women in our Focus State Union Territory initiative, because we see them as more than equal partners. So I think Nari Shakti, not really in India, but in the embassy's activities as well.
Thank you.
You see, it is very well acknowledged that Indian women, especially in health and education, actively contributed to economic development in the GCC region, and they have been contributing to the economic prosperity of the Kingdom of Bahrain, and I would encourage them to continue to do so. But they're also diversifying, as you rightly pointed out. They're also diversifying. In my interactions with ministers from the Kingdom of Bahrain, with the leadership and other interlocutors in the government and outside of the government, they are highly appreciative of the ability of Indian women to actively integrate themselves with the society, especially in the economic as well as the social spheres. Indian Ladies Association has been doing a very good work here. When the new executive committee took over, they invited me for one of their programs, especially for their focus on the underprivileged. Yes. And the focus on children, special needs children, is quite commendable, and we as an embassy are willing to support all their activities, as we do in respect of all Indian associations. India's approach is Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. The world is one family. If you recall that during the Indian presidency of the G20 in 2023, we had focused on one world, one earth and one future. Our approach is to take every region of the world together. We have substantially enhanced our multilateral agenda. We realize that there are a lot of transnational challenges that we will have to handle together. Climate change, our commitment to climate change is unprecedented. We are way beyond all G20 countries in achieving our targets that we have committed to the COP. We are going to host the COP in a few years. In terms of the fight against piracy around the world, Indian Navy, Indian Coast Guard has been actively contributing. You would have recently come across reports of Indian naval ships dealing with these challenges in the GCC region, the nearby region. That was one of the highlights of our combined task force participation, which was the first such participation which took place from January to June of this year under the combined maritime forces. Then when we come to terrorism, you rightly pointed out zero tolerance to terrorism, and this has been an article of faith for Indian foreign policy for a long period of time. Most recently, you would have seen the US government's designation of the TRF as a terrorist organization associated with the Lashkar-e-Taiba. We are committed to the fight against terrorism across all parts of the world. Now, you talked about South Asia as well as Africa. Yeah. These are developmental partners. For instance, I can tell you from my personal experience, I was Deputy High Commissioner in Sri Lanka. My portfolio on the development side was $600 million. So we were doing those projects, which includes construction of hospitals, construction of infrastructure, construction of houses, estate housing, etc. all across the island. The portfolio is $600 million. And then when we, coincidentally when I was there and when Sri Lanka decided to seek IMF support, we were able to use our experience of 1991 to work with Sri Lanka through a $4 billion assistance package, including a $1 billion line of credit for essentials. So for around a year, my portfolio is $1.6 billion. So these are ways in which New India is engaging with the global South. This was then subsequently replicated even in the Maldives. And as you know, when again going back to G20, during our presidency, Africa became a member of the G20. Correct. And this shows a commitment to the ideals that have always united in India and Africa. India is a natural partner with other South Asian countries, not only because they are in our region, but also because we have identical development experiences. And with Africa, we have common interests in maintaining peace and security while also developing in this wider region. Over the last 2.5 decades, we have seen a substantial transformation of India, not only as an economy, but also as a society, also as a development partner. Some of our strengths in space, science and technology, in infrastructure development, in the financial services, etc., are quite useful for developing partnerships with countries around the world, and not only countries around the world but also international organizations. So this, for instance, our engagement with the World Bank, our engagement with the IMF, our engagement with the United Nations. So in terms of people, in terms of assets, and also in terms of time, Indian foreign policy is undergoing a churn for the better, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, who has very clearly set out a lot of doctrines, and who carries this message. The Prime Minister gives the message, he carries the message, and this is amplified by our most active, erudite, exceptionally talented, highly intellectual External Affairs Minister. Yeah. In fact, this was an important point of discussion when Dr. Jaishankar visited in December last year. The response we got from the Bahraini side was heartening. They are truly appreciative of the Indian diaspora's contribution to the economic prosperity of the Kingdom of Bahrain. They also appreciate the Indian position on various issues related to the West Asia. You would have seen in the joint statement that we supported King Hamad's call for Middle East Peace Conference. Yes. As you know, India's position is historically been support for the two-state solution. We want dialogue to resolve the matters. Again, in respect to Palestine, I would like to say that we have deep and long-standing development partnership with them. I was looking at the data, most recent data. I want to share with you that almost $500 million support to Palestine we have given in the last 30-40 years. Through budgetary support, through development partnerships like building hospitals, schools, and other infrastructure. And also we give a lot of training and scholarship opportunities to Palestinian children. Plus, we are one of the top contributors to the United Nations Relief and Works agencies, the UNRWA, which is assisting with providing humanitarian assistance. India is one of the largest contributor, and traditionally it has been contributing like that. And a few months back we contributed $5 million. So almost $500 billion support, $500 million support we have extended to Palestine in the last few decades. Okay. I want to use this opportunity to share two important developments which happened in the last few months, because it is of direct consequence to each and every one of the readers of Salaam Bahrain. First is that starting from the 1st of April, we have reduced all our passport, visa and consular fee services by almost 6%. I had been working on it with my team for a few months, and we have succeeded in that. It leads to substantial savings for whenever you avail of these services. Second, early in July, we managed to get the electronic visa system launched for Bahraini nationals. I'd been working on it since the time I came here, and now there are 9 categories of electronic visas available for Bahrainis to travel to India. We are working on in 3 specific areas. One is in the political consultations. We are looking forward to some exchange of visits, ministerial visits as well as high-level visits. We also want to enhance collaboration in regional and international issues. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Bahrain on their joining the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member from 2026 to 2027. India will always support Bahraini government in all their initiatives on the UN Security Council. We are very close partners in the UN, and that is part of our political consultations. The second is, of course, in the area of trade, investment and economy. As I already told you, we have established a joint working group on trade and investment. We want to take that relationship even further by having more detailed engagement. We have some downsides to the relationship, like anti-dumping duties which have to be lifted, countervailing measures, etc. We will discuss all of that and take the relationship forward in that. And third is mainly the people-to-people engagement, of which I have given you 2 examples of what my colleagues and I have been working on. But we have more plans for the future. I don't want to spell it out, but in these 3 baskets, we have lined up a few things in the next 1 year or so.